Namaskar and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sattology, Debunking Mythology. So today we have a very interesting topic and a very special guest. Now, before we start with the discussion, just want to remind everyone, Sat means truth. It's a root dhatu of Sanskrit. It's a root word on which other words are made. Dhatu means a principal uh, word from which other words are created. And logos in Latin means the study of science. Sattology means the study of truth, science of truth. It is an antonym of mythology. Myth means a lie, fake, imagination in Sanskrit. From that, the words come like mithya, mithya ahankar, mithyachar. Different words are created from the root word. So the mythology word was created to show that the ancient Vedic history or any ancient history which doesn't gel with the Abrahamic history, most probably Christian, is a fake history. So we have lived in the world of mythology. Now it's time to drop that tag. Like sometimes you do the drop the mic in the media, you're going to drop mythology. And we are follow Sattology, which is Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vedic literatures. There's a lot of archaeological proof, astronomical proof, historical proof. And in my last two books, I have proved, I've just followed Ved Vyas and Valmiki, and I have proved every single word that they have written geographically exists, even today. So with that being said, I have a very special guest. He's one of the topmost educators from India. He teaches, he has so many thousands of students across the country and in foreign countries. And he has been working with a mission for teaching truth and only truth. And that's what the topic today is. Without delay, let us welcome the Vice Chancellor of Bilaspur University, Prof. Atal Bihari Bajpai University from Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, Professor D N Bajpai. So Dr. Bajpai, you have had such a wide experience in education. I mean, you can be easily called the topmost educator of India, where you set the standards. My question to you is today, when we talk about, so I'll take example of Japan. Japan has its own education system based on their language. They don't speak English. In fact, when I lived in Japan for 1 year, I used to have a tough time to talk to them because I would go from America as an American citizen over there, and I would have tough time. I had to learn Japanese to interact with them. And that's their strength. They've used their language to their strength. In fact, every single product that they make, the principal instructions for the product or even the guides for the product are in Japanese language and a particular script. If you look at Russia, everything is in Russian. If you look at France, so what I'm trying to say, all the original countries where who are the leaders of the world, they follow their own culture everywhere, right? Beginning from language. And especially when it comes to India, which has one principal language, which is Sanskrit, all other languages come from it. And we see that and we are talking in English because we are talking to American audience also. But for the Indian audience also who is listening and who understands English, only for India, we use all other languages which are not the local language. Do you think that affects the quality of education in India?
Aditya, very pertinent question you have raised in the beginning of my show. At the outset, I would like to respect and say namaste to all of my listeners. Many times I have already joined with you earlier also. The very question of language. Language is the method of expression. You have got certain emotions in your brain, body, soul, like that. There should be some medium of expression. In Hindi or Sanskrit, we call it abhivyakti. Abhivyakti means we want to manifest something. व्यक्त करना चाहते हैं. There is something inside. We want to make it out. We want to manifest it. You see, outside. There is something inside. You see, our body system, our brain system, our soul systems. And when you say expression, means there is some air is just existing in your body. You are pressing. It is coming out. It is expression. So there are certain limitations of language are concerned. It's good that you see Russians have maintained their own language. Japanese too are doing entire jobs in their own languages. Similar is the case with the French, Germany. Most of the developed countries are doing almost all jobs in their language and their economy, polity, society, internal relations. They are maintaining everything. There is no problem. So far as India is concerned, number one, India was under great rule of Britain, and British language was this English only, British English, not this American English. So they imposed it. For imposition, there was two reasons. One, to cut the roots of Indian culture and civilization, and language was the first connect through which Indians could have connected themselves with the roots. So deliberately, entire story of Meghalaya. He used to say that Indians should be cut from their roots. One part that Indians were just devoid of their own language, that is Sanskrit. If Sanskrit you don't know, then you cannot connect with those Vedic literature or Ramayana or Mahabharata or Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita or any other Sanskrit grantha. Similarly, entire indigenous knowledge system is also available in Sanskrit. If you don't know the Sanskrit, the doors of Indian knowledge system doesn't open for you. That's one foremost reason being the colony of British. Japan was also colony, but sooner Japan got freedom. First of all, they did everything. They get rid of that language, English culture, and they started doing everything in their own. Similar things could have been done by Indians also. When India got freedom, very first thing that India should have declared, I think this I have reiterated in other lectures also in your show. First of all, very first job which Indian government could have done to replace English by making Sanskrit as a national language. I know the Babasaheb Ambedkar, who's the centenary we just celebrated on 14th of April last month. He was vehemently saying that Sanskrit should be made the national language. Had it been national language, it could have connected India in a better manner, and all the language issues could have been wiped off automatically. Secondly, we could have generated our own knowledge base as a foundation of knowledge. I used to say you cannot import air from outside, you cannot import oxygen level from outside, you cannot import sunlight from outside, you cannot import roads from outside. Why do you import knowledge from outside? You should develop your own knowledge economy on the basis of indigenous knowledge. Then things could have been done. Another thing which I am thinking, Aditya, Indians are very good receiver and absorber. The way English was absorbed in Indian society, a particular section of society was created, was so good, so fluent in English, whether it's Pandit Nehru or Sardar Sarpalli Radhakrishnan or Vallabhbhai Patel or many others, even Gandhiji, they were so good in English, they didn't find any difference whether we are doing work in English or Hindi. Similar is with us also. You maintain same legacy. We are as good in Hindi or in Sanskrit or in English. There is no difference. So that too, had there been some dogma so far as absorbing English language in the Indian society, India could have gone for its own languages, Sanskrit or Hindi. That could not happen. And I think this nation education policy talking about Sanskrit to Sanskrit, indigenous knowledge systems. If something happens in our education system, things can improve. Otherwise,
No,
sorry for the long
you
answer.
no, you made a very good point and a good opening remark. I wish people like you were making the policies of Indian education from the beginning itself. And the first seven education ministers of India did not have respect for the Indian culture, Sanatan Dharma in India. And naturally, they were not inclined to use Sanskrit because it would diminish their value. See, I would say the colonial impact on India continued till 2014 on India. And after that, we have changed a little bit, slightly. But still, slight change is also a big change. Now, with the new education policy coming, what do you see the position of important concepts like dharma, like artha, and because dharma and artha are extremely important, both go hand in hand. One supports the other, and the other two aspects are the other two purusharthas are attained after that based on the inclination. Now, in the context of politics, India has given amazing philosophy of Arthashastra, which you also spoke about, that Arthashastra is not just economics. You said it in many talks with us.
Yeah, yeah.
And you also said, so India has given Arthashastra, India has given numbers, and India has given. So, my question is so, what is Dharma in education from your perspective today? And after that, my succeeding next question will be, why do India looks for technology transfer from the West? We'll talk about it. So what do you mean by dharma in education?
Aditya, you see, Dharma in education because education is very much important so far as transformation of personality is concerned. This is the education which shapes the body, shapes the mind, gives direction. You see, opens the vistas of knowledge, opens the vistas of thinking, connects with the society. This is education which gives language to the tongue. There is education which gives power of sight to eyes. There is education which gives power ear to listen. There is the education which gives power mouth to speak. Everything is education. Without education, is nothing. But India has done a lot of work in the area of education also. It's not merely education. India talks about knowledge. India talks about wisdom. Wisdom, knowledge, education, training. Everything you see India has talked about in a very detailed manner and rated wisdom at the highest plane. When it is said that Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye, you know this couplet very well. Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye, that wisdom which liberates. Here, Rishi has very much discriminated. He is saying Vidya, not Shiksha, not Prashiksha, not Jnana. He also that Nahi Jnana Sadrisham Amritam, Nahi Jnana Sadrisham Pavitram. There cannot be see more pious thing as a Jnana, knowledge is there. But wisdom is the most important thing asset. So, we are imparting education, our educational institutions are today. Whether you have connected so many university professors, they are you see, professors of medicine, they are professors of psychiatrics, they are professors of neuromedicines, they are professors of Urdu, they are professors of see, English, and many other subjects of artificial intelligence, everything. So many universities, so many professors are you see, watching this video. They are imparting his education. Whether that education has its own purpose of educating the people, whether that education is going to serve the society, whether this education can liberate the individual from the bondages of ignorance, the bondages of unemployment, from the bondages of inequality, from the bondages of disparity. So many bondages are there. Can this education liberate? entire society, entire world from the fear of this coronavirus. Or this can, you see, this entire world can be, you see, avoided by this nuclear fear as such in the future. A future of, you see, third world war. Can this education impart? Can this education make an individual generous, magnanimous, a lover, a passionate, benevolent, pitiful, passionate, see, working for others, sharing the things for others? Can this education make a man, you see, great, a poet, a singer, a painter? No. Answer is a big no. So there lacks education. Education, the present education being imparted not only in India but world over, it is incomplete, it is lopsided. Rather, it is, instead of doing goods to the society, it is doing dangers to the society. It is disastrous for the society. It is disastrous for the environment. It is disaster for the mind. It is disaster for the soul. That's why here lies the role of dharma. If education is being attached with the dharma, and dharma tells you what to do, what not to do, that is wisdom. That is wisdom. Dharma tells you what is good, what is bad. Dharma tells you what is good at present, what was good at past, what can be good in future. Dharma tells you those all relativities for which Einstein he told about theory of relativity. From time, space, matter. The best to see attachment, best relativities with the time, space, matter can be obtained by dharma only. And also, detachment from all these three can also be obtained through dharma only. Dharma tells you how much go deeper in this mundane world, in this materialistic world. Dharma tells you how to be, how much, how deep, how is he, in what degree one should be selfish, and also in what degree he should be magnanimous. In Isha Vaso Mishad, I have, you see, quoted that, oft quoted, see, couplet several times. Isha Vaso Midabhum Sarom Met Kinchi Jagatang Jagat Tena Taktena Bhunji Tha Magrada Kasya Siddhanam. You told Artha and Dharma. I wanted to correct that also. See, Dharma never tells that you should sacrifice, you should die of hunger, fasting, 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 and without taking food, you can die. No. Dharma maintains a balance between your requirements of body, requirements of mind, requirements of intellect, and requirements of soul, which we call that, see, the Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, or Atma. We just make is a 4 by 4 matrix between all these, you see, four things. Everything is intertwined. They cannot be separated from each other. So Dharma tells to be integrated. Your body should be integrated with your mind. Your mind should be integrated with your intellect. Your intellect with your soul. Soul should be all pervading. So Dharma connects yourself directly with the soul. And when you become the soul-centric person, instead of self-centric, you become soul-centric. So all those characteristics of Dharma. Aditya, Dharma, you know all the 10 lakshanas of Dharma. Dhritik, Kshama, Devustayam, Ittadi, Ittadi. They are the characteristics, they are the features of Dharma. That is not Dharma. That is not Dharma. They are simply the features, the indicators, the parameters. And parameters, indicators cannot be that particular element for which those has been created. Isn't it? So Dharma is a bigger thing. Dharma, if at all, can be synonym for anything. That is Sat, which we are using Sattology. That can be a synonym for, you see, truth. That can be synonym for, you see, soul. That can be synonym for Brahma. That can be synonym for Ishwar, anything. But not, you see, this Dharma, religion or mazhab like that. Dharma doesn't believe in any dogma. Dharma doesn't believe in any, see, caste line, religion line, mazhab line, panth line, language line, nothing like that. Dharma believes in utter humanity. And with that, education is imparted in our universities. That is related to humanity, to be humanitarian throughout, to be value-based humanitarian throughout. Wherever man is there, Wherever inanimate world is there, where the flora, fauna is there, that should be associated in one go. You will find this is sustainability, you find equality, you find egalitarian society, there will be any danger, there is no danger for a third war as such. Everything will be, you see, okay, if education is given with Dharma. That is the essentiality of Dharma in education, which is lacking today. Today's education makes a man selfish, self-centered. I am becoming a bit emotional. That person is living society, but that education person is not worth living in society. Most educated engineers are joining militants group. Most educated medical doctors are creating, you see, out of proportion money during this COVID-19. They are busy. Most, you see, most educated management graduates are doing lot of corruptions in management practices. You know that Satyam Computers, you see, scam is exploded. They were the best chartered accountant, most sophisticated, knowledgeable chartered accountant were there without creating anything. They create a scam of certain computers, of which crores and crores. Things are happening. So if education is not being, you see, in a subtle manner, attached with the dharma, and dharma does not mean only academics of dharma, the practice of dharma. In our dharma, academics is okay, granthas are okay, shlokas are okay, but they have what is the limited impact. Real impact would come into the individual society only when they observe dharma in day-to-day life. Our dharma is to get up early in morning and worship the sun. That too is dharma. Puja part, worshipping God is also dharma. But more powerful, more pious dharma is to serve the humanity. Over to Aditya.
One of the accusations is done that dharma makes you weak, and Krishna also Bhagavad Gita says in Bhagavad Gita he says yajna dana tapa karma na tyajam karyam evat, you know
Yes.
because pavanani manishina yajna dana tapas cheva pavanani manishina. So they say that in today's world, when the whole world, and you correctly explained, dharma doesn't mean religion. Dharma is a platform of righteousness or truth. It can be applied to non-living things also, like the dharma of water is saralta, it's liquidity. Dharma of ice is the unnatural state of water. So dharma can also mean the state also, state of existence. Dharma for a king is a different dharma because his duties are different, and dharma for a teacher are different. It's a different. So does dharma make anyone weak? Because we are living in a very selfish world. You have just seen United States. Uh, they're fighting. India is fighting with them in WTO on the patents. And yesterday, I think India got a victory over there, where everybody has to back down because it's a crisis situation, and the patent laws don't apply right now. So when you're dealing with an adversary who is only thinking selfishly, only about themselves, then what is the position of dharma? Because that's where people say it becomes weak. And I've covered that in detail in my books also. But do you think dharma makes us weak?
No, the dharma cannot make any person yes. Because this is the dharma which overcomes all weaknesses, all fears in life. This is the dharma only which can win over the death, which is the most, you see, fearful, most dreadful, you see, element in our life as well. So dharma cannot, you see, make anybody weak. If suppose anybody is weak due to dharma, it means that he hasn't observed dharma in a proper manner. I'll give two examples. One example, I know when Trump was in trouble during the first wave of COVID, Trump wanted some medicine from India, some paracetamol, you see, like that. India voluntarily, you see, sent, you see, that cargo to America. India observed his dharma And when it came to provide raw material from America to India for medicines, this vaccine, then America was putting so many riders. Why is it so? America is not following that dharma. Dharma is that whatever you want to accept for yourself, behave with others. If you don't want to receive in the same manner for yourself, you should not behave to others. And Padma Purana, which gives narrates all the features of Dharma, the Padma Purana say that Sruyatam Dharma Sarvasam, Shuyatam Vidharetam, Atmana Pratikula Nam Paresham Samachare. Can America accept the same type of behavior from India when America is in crisis? Or America cannot come in crisis in future? America should have observed this dharma because you yourself that everybody has got some dharma as well. During this crisis, entire humanity is crying. If somebody possesses more power, that should be shared with more poor people. So this is one episode regarding the America and narration. But what happened to China? What did China to the world over? Nobody is able to criticize China because everybody is afraid of China. China is a very powerful country. What will do to China? I think there should be objectivity. Dharma of a professor, dharma of a teacher is to explain the truth, whatever is good for the society, what are beneficial of the society as a. I do rightly to that. Dharma is not only one particular element as such. Dharma has many meanings, but the crux of the dharma is the essence of anything. Essence, that material which is merely responsible for the existence of that element is dharma. Ananya sa dharma, by which anything is being born. That is dharma. This body is not being born by our outer body. The soul is the body. The soul is the dharma of this body. And there will be various manifestations of soul itself. That is so. Similarly, the entire world is maintained by earth. Earth is dharma for its entire world system asset. So that particular element, which is basically responsible for the existence, is dharma. That may be guna somewhere, that may be karma somewhere, beauty somewhere, power somewhere, grantha somewhere, some avatar or pagambar, maybe somewhere. But that particular, the utmost element, that first element, the very basic, for instance, the root of the roots, you can say, that is also for language. The Sanskrit is okay. We know Vyakaran is Dharma in Sanskrit. For Vyakaran, we say entire Shabdamala is the Dharma. There is no, the roots is Dhatu. Dhatu is the Dharma. Yes, Dhatu is the basic element. Without Dhatu, no word can be combined, no word can be created. If word is not there, and for Dhatu also, Swar is the Dharma. Without Swar, Dhatu cannot can take its shape as such. So we can go for making simultaneous equations also. We can make on a general equilibrium model also. We can explain the things how dharma can be obtained. But one thing more important I would like to tell you, Aditya. See, it's very difficult to see dharma. The outer part of dharma is very easy to see. It's visible by our naked eyes. But the real dharma, which is all pervading, which is all universal, which is all inclusive as such, which is all eternal as such, for that also one requires to go for deep perseverance. This is sadhana कहते हैं. And as I already told you several times that yogasana, pranayama, dhyana, meditation, everything. You told me that you are having many yoga instructors. They should detract from this physical education method and go for the real yogasana paddhati given by Patanjali. So that real thing will come automatically, will percolate automatically, and they will resolve the things automatically. Yes, Aditya.
So one of the challenges in the dharma is, like, for example, Narada is very straightforward, especially for the politician. He says take direct action. Like, Narad Muni says that if the opponent is not following dharma, sometimes you have to, dharma says that you have to first get down to his level, understand, and take appropriate action to defeat that person. In politics, I'm saying. In dharma, in education, is to promote the rightful things, which most, you are a leader in that, promote the right thing, which is best for the student in future, so that when he competes with something unforeseen, the education has prepared him to change, like just like a shruti and smriti can be
Yeah,
modified to today's time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now dharma can be, in terms of science and technology, all sciences have come from Vedic culture. All science, any origin, science is there. And dharma means that how to use the science to improve today's life. Loka sangraha. That is the aim of politics. That's the aim of artha. That's the aim for science. That's aim for warfare also. That wherever there is adharma, we should not hesitate to use force, military force. Just like Ravana could not have been subdued by instructions. You have to defeat him first. Otherwise, he won't get it, and his followers won't get it. That was just one Ravana. Today, there's so many, and so the platform of dharma is actually gives you a lot of strength to act against all types of adversaries, because dharma changes based on what the other person is. The goal doesn't change. The goal is righteousness, or the loka sangraha, benefit for all. But sometimes you have to use it accordingly. Now today, uh, in India, being the home of science, medical science also, Shushrut Samhita is the first book which documents the medical procedures which the allopathic medicine uses extensively. Why does India today, being the land of dharma, always begs for technologies? The others also make it, the others also make it and sell it. Why do we have to always go for, like, one example somebody asked me today, and one of the questions also is there, that India has given us so much. Why is India not able to compete in the today's world? Is it because of systemic problems, or is it because of the habit has been modified, that any problem comes, we start looking somewhere else for solutions instead of within us or within our society? And even today, I consider, because I interact with students both here and in India, I find the Indian students to be, and forgive me, I'm saying it, all of you are, I just deep respect for you, all of you who are watching it live right now, that we, I feel the general IQ level at the base level is much higher. And so where are we lacking right now as an Indian community?
Aditya, no, first of all, I think we'll be agreeing to that. There is a hangover of this. I should not criticize always Macaulay or this colonial mindset, but still hangover is there. We cannot see that that nasha of is the hangover that is there. Number one. So everything coming from the West, especially from Britain, America, is good, and things from India, where we call it Swadeshi or anything, that is a very inferior quality. That is still, you see, prevailing in our system. We should accept it as such. That's why a person who goes to London or America thinks himself that he is much, much superior, so much at a higher, elevated one asset than other people as such. But at the same time, I agree that substitution is also taking at a very fast speed. You see, a country which was producing everything on the earth, including plane and everything, all medicines, all you see, aeroplanes, all navigation systems, everything India was producing, was systematically, manner say, ruined. And At the time of independence, India was not able to even manufacture a pin. That India is producing, you see, supercomputers today. So today's, you see, technology transfer or see import of technology from outside, maybe many compulsions, maybe diplomatic compulsions of India as a whole. So far as technological upgradation of technology strength is concerned, I think India doesn't need to be dependent upon say, any country as such. So, merely saying that India wants this thing from America or say, Japan or from like France, like that. Maybe on some areas, especially wars and say, ammunitions, India can produce this often, but it will take a lot of time, long time as well. Meanwhile, China is a threat to India. So India, India will have to see, protect its boundaries, the country as a whole, by import is first. Then you see other things can be taken. You see afterwards. So what I mean to say that today's India is not that India of 1947, frankly. India is a nuclear power, India is a strong technical power, India is a strong medical power, India has got full you see, engineering and you see, innovation, research like that. So, but you see, because somewhere it lacks you see, raw material, somewhere it lacks you see, technical know-how also, and instead of economic and technological compulsions, I think there are certain diplomatic compulsions for which India is depending upon say, other countries. Other,
No, you put
yes,
it
other.
well. Actually, you explained it well. And I also feel that one thing is like the other countries. I'll take example of smaller countries like Norway, Korea, and
Yeah,
they do amazing work. They're much smaller than India,
there
but
is small countries now, Norway, Korea, Singapore, Taiwan. We cannot compare ourselves with them, Sadhya.
exactly
Our
we
the
cannot.
elephant economy, they're very small economies there, sir. With slightest hither and thither, where merely by improving their tourism, they can say jump their economy to sky height. But we cannot,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but in terms of engineering output, they have done
Yeah,
something amazing in terms of
yeah.
engineering
We
output.
did.
But it's a historical fact also, because you even during Mahabharat time also, Arjun got
Yes,
some of his weapons from Pulinda,
yes.
and which is and also Khasa. So it is not just today's world. So the Indian ancient Dharma culture was, because it was prevalent all over
But
the world.
Utkarsh also came. But Utkarsh came to see for his rescue with all
Correct.
his arms and ammunition.
Correct. So
Yeah,
this was the old. So the for Indians, you have to understand, even the most developed economy of the world, like US, doesn't build everything in house. They get some
yeah,
technologies from Germany, something from Norway, somewhere, and they integrate in the US, and that's how they build better weapons or planes or everything else. So the same model India has to use, and that's how the world functions. World functions in cooperation, collaboration, not just one country does everything. Like Japan is a case in point, that most of the systems Japanese produce, they're sourced from all over the world, all over the world, and but
yeah, yeah.
finally assembled
Yes.
in Japan. But certain things they keep it their own, like for example, transmission systems of the cars, which is there, they have created something unique there. Similarly, India has a strength in alloys. Nobody can beat India in alloys, like how to mix chemicals and create a new metal. That nobody can beat that in India, and that we have seen in the different kinds of Arun's thumb in Jagannath Puri temple. That's one great example. And
Yeah,
another
yeah.
example is one's
Qutub Minars, that
Qutub Minar's
I
lost
know
thumb.
ordered Qutub Minar, yes.
Correct, is a great example where India has a strength. So dharma in technology space will mean that we use the best everywhere possible, but use an Indian brain to produce something new. That's dharma here in a technology space. So it does definitely doesn't make us weak or Indians weak or anyway. So like in the new education policy which is coming up, do you see from your side? I'm sitting way far away. Whatever I've read, I can ask you, but Do you see from your own insight, is there any scope for innovation where the Indian talent is utilized fully, the creativity of the Indian mind?
Yes, I think the national education policy is a lot of importance. So, skill is the improvement from class 6 only, as also innovation and research capabilities from the earlier level. And so many boundaries, so the MPhil has been totally, eroded. Then PhD, you can enroll from direct from BA or BSc. You can go for research degree. Even high school teacher can also go for going innovation and research as a. Even in the informal sectors, put in agriculture or any other thing, suppose you want to do any research, you can go for that. So national education policy is going to create national research foundation of a big sum that can be distributed in so many subjects like science, technology, humanities, arts, and sciences. And here, what I mean to say that indigenous technology, indigenous knowledge systems are going to take the front seat in this national education policy. But I wonder how professors can come forward and how deep are the professors who know their own indigenous knowledge systems. If they are coming forward, and today's is a mindset of the bureaucrats and politicians, they also have got some interaction with those who are very great scholars. Things can be improved. You see, as you quoted Mahabharata, in Mahabharata, we had to see that sophisticated technology of wars with them. And their reminiscences are still available. You see, Ram Setu is there, isn't it? So, on those things, we can make a foundation of Indian technology system. And for we should have proud also. Actually, what is happening? There is lot of wars is going on. Lot of wars between India vis-a-vis, and it's a war of supremacy. Nobody wants to share their own supremacy. America wants its own supremacy. Russia wants its own supremacy. Germany wants its own supremacy. Japan wants its own supremacy. If they are observing their own dharma of sharing this supremacy with those countries, about 175 countries of the world, which are not so good, rather they are worse off. If they are sharing this thing, things would be better. Things can be better, and that is better for the humanity as a whole. So, is a dharma is a very pious thing as well. One thing I would like to comment as when you were mentioning that if any person is doing bad to society, dangerous to the society, what is the rule of dharma? A person who is just doing adharma only, which is not required for the society at all. To kill that adharma is dharma, is the dharma of dharma. That's the real dharma. Tolerating, any adharmic person, violent event also, isn't it? Is adharma. In our dharma, violence does not mean that you are tolerating the violent persons as well. Killing the violent persons is the inviolence, violencelessness that we can have. So, for Lok Sangrah or Lok Mangal, you have mentioned. Lok Sangrah or Lok Mangal, Lok Kalyan has been the best, most pious, and present purpose of dharma as such. If any dharma is not performing that Lok Mangal or Lok Sangrah, welfare of all, India has been talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. India has never discriminated between man, or man and nature, or nation and nation. India has been talking for entire earth has a family as a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Am Nijah Paroveti Galana Loksesam. Udar Charitanam to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We have sloganized that particular shloka long back, or we have been talking Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Everybody should be good. Everybody should be happy. No person on the earth should be unhappy as it. And person who is making the person unhappy should be killed. That is dharma. So we killed Ravana, Ram and Ravan. Yuddha was there, you see. Ram killed Ravan. Krishna killed the Kansa. Kansa was his own relative. But even then, he killed the Kansa. And similarly, the case with any other. But before killing, one should be very particular about the adharmic person. A person who is doing bad to society, that must be. And in some cases, there are several levels as well. Killing comes or war comes at the end. You see, if Krishna went to Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, say that you just give me 5 villages, Baba, myself and my all Pandavas, they will be happy with you see 5 villages. But he refused to give 5 villages. Then Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, a noted poet of Hindi, he wrote that कि क्या वस्तु बड़ी थी 5 ग्राम, तुम ही बोलो हे बंधु अकाम, याचना नहीं अब रण होगा, जीवन या के मरण होगा. That was the last words of the Krishna said. Oh, no, 5 villages were nothing. But you see, he was unable to give him 5 villages. He was not performing his dharma. Instead of, he is putting lot of his problems for this Pandavas. Then it's okay, now war is inevitable. War must be fought. And war was fought and Duryodhana was killed.
See, in a metal frame, the more tension you create by subduing it, like you pull it, and when you release it, it's most violent. It goes back with a full force. So
Yes.
last 70 years, the dharma naturally, uh, because we have such a rich past. I'm talking about the Indians. We have such a rich past, so we cannot be subdued for very long. It's now reached the tension now. So, and the again, when we talk about, see, I tell you, when I was in the ashram, and I was living as a brahmachari, and I everybody used to tell me, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So I told to my ashram leader, uh, you know uh, so I told him that, Guruji, if anyone tells me next time, even once, don't do this, I'm going out. I cannot stay here. So so he told me a very wonderful thing. He said, dharma means you can do anything. It gives you the freedom. It's a platform of freedom, not of bondage. And since that time, I was 15 years old, I've never left this path, because it gives me the freedom to be a businessman, to be a warrior, to be a doctor whenever I want, whatever is my heart. And who knew that I will be hosting these shows? I never thought. I was not trained for this, but just doing it because I like it. So dharma gives you actually freedom and creativity to challenge any adharmic thought or anything else. So so do you think that point has reached now in the Indian society and the Indian youth, that yes, it's time to now let go free?
Aditya, you see that liberation is the ultimate, you see, purpose of our life, moksha. And freedom is a way towards the obtaining see, liberation as such. But to whom you are giving, you see, freedom, that is more important. Aditya is a pious soul, is an elevated soul. It travels through the many million years in the past, you see, lives as such. So today you got freedom. You didn't deviate from your see, path of righteousness. But the soul and body, which is so very immature, only say 10 or 20 you see, births you see previous, 100 or 200 years old, or very new. If suppose you are giving freedom to that you see, body and soul, there like all likelihood of chances they can you see, go see, haywire. So freedom is okay. Freedom does so many miracles, but freedom should be given in a guided manner, local manner. If a person is totally disciplined at a later stage, you know that brahmachari, you are brahmachari, na? You were saying, do this, do this. So freedom is guided. When you are grahastha, more freedom is given. Vanaprastha, more freedom is given. And for sannyasi, everything is given for free. Total freedom, total freedom. You can go anywhere. Even you see, those three bondages of worship, Janeu, everything is gone for sannyasi. So there are levels of freedom. So our Indian rishis have this thought on every issue. This is not Aditya and Arun are discussing today. They have discussed at length. I said that Shruti and Smriti, na? People say Smriti is should be created taking the present time like that. But our Smritis have never deviated from the main line of Vedic Kisi Parampara.
That's
From
right.
Shruti as well. That Smriti can be sustained only which is maintaining the Shruti Parampara.
Correct. That's
Manu
right.
Smriti is there. Manu Smriti didn't deviate from the Shruti Parampara.
No.
And so many other Smritis came. But Smritis are not there. They are not being remembered. They are not being accepted in the society because they are not retaining and maintaining and sustaining that
That's
Shruti Parampara has. Isn't it? That is more important.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
Ajay.
right. Absolutely. The Smriti depends on the conclusions of Shruti. It cannot deviate.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dr. Bajpai, and very clear, frank discussion we had. And I hope
Thank
the
you,
viewers
Aditya.
understand that Dharma is a platform which you can use, doesn't make you weak at all. And you can use in every sphere of life. And it is a great platform to be on because you get moral strength. And I can tell you, when the army fights, any armies of the world, US Army or Indian Army, the moral courage is higher than the physical courage. If the
Yes.
moral courage is there, the army can win any battle. And that's why Chinese or Pakistanis cannot win, because they don't have the moral courage. Because the morality is lacking. They know in their heart, deep heart, that they're doing something wrong. And even the US enemies, sometimes the US Army also loses. In Vietnam, they lost a lot, by a lot. And because the moral courage was not there, despite having the best planes, best ships, best missiles, they still lost the Vietnam War, because it was the moral courage was lacking. So Dharma gives you that moral courage. So don't get disheartened. Use Dharma. I'm smiling because this is not a serious topic. Believe me, Dharma is a very simple topic. It's serious for those who consider Dharma as in the bookshelves. They dust it every morning. So that is not Dharma. That is dusting. So I'll stop here and thank you all for joining, and grateful for your questions. And I asked all your questions to Dr. Bajpai. Thank you. Namaskar.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. Thank you very much.